It's Kymmy Coco, your host of Innovative Black Stations, Connecting the Dots. And we are here live from Blue Ash, Georgia, y'all. We did it. Congratulations to John Ossoff and the first Jewish senator. And John, and he ran a great campaign. I went to a few of his events. It was amazing. Congratulations to Raphael Warnock, the first black senator to represent Georgia. I'm not going to take this lightly, y'all. We did that shit. We really turned Georgia blue. And if you look at the map in the South, we are the only blue state in the South. It is a new day, Georgia. When we first started this show 3 years ago, I really wanted to do something that brought awareness to political issues, social issues, talked about the power of voting, talked about people that were influential in voting. And around that time, it was when Stacey Abrams was running her campaign. And we talked about how it was going here in Georgia and how the forces were coming against her and how we needed to get behind her. And look what we did, y'all. We really got behind her. We really got behind the movement. I am so appreciative of Jay Black and Dom and everybody that comes and helps us and everybody that watches the show. Thank you so much, because now we are witnessing the power of what we all can do when we communicate and we get on the same page and we make things happen. The campaign was run so wonderfully. People were sending postcards from all over the country to thank us, to encourage us to vote, because we really needed to earn these 2 Senate seats. Another thing I wanted to bring awareness to, and the reason why I wanted to start this show, is because my ancestors have lived and worked and were enslaved in the state of Georgia. So if you share my heritage and if you share my family history and if you are the descendant of slaves that worked and toiled the fields of Georgia, I want you to just take this time to enjoy this victory, because this is something that our ancestors would never have thought would have happened. And this campaign was crazy. We couldn't turn our TV on without them inundating us with ads, and oh my goodness, the mailbox is full with postcards, and the streets are full of stuff, and people are so triggered because they ran this campaign kind of dirty. Some of the ads that Kelly Loeffler put out about Raphael Warnock being a radical liberal, and then at the debate, that seems like her ass was stuck on those 2 words and she couldn't say anything else. And David Perdue, he just didn't even show up for his debate because he was just like, he thought he had it in the bag because he's the incumbent and, he's a Republican. And he just thought that everybody was just going to rally behind him. And nope, sorry, didn't work out like that. So now, like everybody is saying, we're going to make sure we hold them accountable. But can we give them a chance to get there, y'all? Because I'm already seeing people have demands.
We really can't, especially after the summer we had last summer.
The summer we had. So when you say no, I mean literally, like, can they get sworn in? Like, can they assume their positions?
No.
I think they know.
No, like, we have to keep the pressure on them. Like, we can't get caught up in this representation.
Right.
We can't just get caught up in the moral victories. Like, we have to keep our pressure on. Like, we've been going through so much stuff, and then for what we just saw on Tuesday, for that to go down like that, and for it to be, it kind of like nothing really happened. If that was black people, it would have been a problem.
And that is like the ongoing sentiment. And you can't turn the TV on, you can't turn the radio on, you can't turn your computer on, you can't go on any website without having. Okay, let's ask this person. What do you think? Well, if they were black, turn the channel. Well, what do you think? If they were black. Well, we know that already.
But I think we know that, but I also think it's one of those things to where it's so good to finally hear major media outlets,
recognizing
major networks, like, say it. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, once again, this is something we've been knowing for ages, but to hear, they said to fix a problem, you have to admit that you have it. And so it's good to even see the media start to utter those words, even Black Lives Matter, and you know what I'm saying, that if this had been black people, that it would have been a whole nother issue. Okay, now that you know this and we've heard you admit it, let's do something about it.
Yeah. There was so much shadiness behind that campaign. There was so much interference. We had Lindsey Graham calling into our Secretary of State and people here in Georgia to try to influence the election and, try to I don't know, pressure them into changing the results. And then Donald Trump called our Secretary of State, Brett Raffensperger. Is his name Brad? Brad Raffensperger. Raffensperger. And the guy that is always with him, what's his name? The guy with the glasses? The guy that works for him?
I don't know.
Let me look up his name.
But to me, it's pretty amazing to see how the infighting is going on in the Republican Party right now, because especially like with David Perdue and Brian Kemp and even Kelly Loeffler, these people hung, with him until the very end,
Well,
until they couldn't anymore.
Right.
And now they're coming out and denouncing what happened on Tuesday when that's like, don't y'all realize this is y'all fault? Like, y'all literally championed this until it happened and people died. People, not going home with their families for one reason or another. You got officers that have died. And so it's kind of like a lot of them are trying to flip the script now and send condolences. I seen Ted Cruz on Twitter, yesterday sending condolences to the family of the police officer that died. I was like, man, I wish that had been my family member because Ted Cruz would have to see me. It's like they don't recognize that the hate and the lies and the propaganda that they spew, it boils over and it becomes real, and it became real on Tuesday.
So his name is Gabriel Sterling, and he literally went on television and said, hey, if you guys don't stop with this mess, somebody is going to get killed. Do you remember that? This was back in December. Actually, it was December 1st. Gabriel Sterling had a press conference, and he said that they have been threatening him and his family, they being the Republicans that feel like they've been shafted in the election and that there was cheating and that there was voter fraud and all types of stuff, which they tried to investigate. They did investigate. They investigated it several times. It all came back that there was no fraud, but they just kept pushing that narrative. They kept pushing that narrative, and they were just fueling the flames of these people that thought that their vote wasn't counted. Your vote was counted, but why is it so hard for people to believe that, okay, maybe everybody doesn't want Trump?
Right.
Like, there was a 50-50 chance that your guy was going to lose, and he lost. Like, that's just the odds.
Yeah.
And all this stuff is proven to us that we are just like, we don't listen to science. We don't listen to math. We don't listen to none of that shit. It's like, if it doesn't go our way, and I'm not even saying us because we fight all the time.
Just
we march up
in
and down the
general.
street. Yeah, people in
Yeah.
general, like, if it doesn't go your way, then it's wrong. But Trump has been planning this. He's a producer. He's a reality show producer. So he set the stage for this way back a couple of years ago. And when he started his re-election campaign, the day after he got elected, he started his re-election campaign. And what he would say is, hey, if I don't lose, it's rigged. If I don't win, it's rigged. And
Yeah,
he
he
would
set it
say
up
that
purposely.
all the time.
Yeah.
Keep saying that and keep saying that. And QAnon got involved. So now we got QAnon, Blacks for Trump, all these anti-maxers, anti-vaxxers. He just got all those people together, and it all came to a boil on Tuesday. So where were you guys when you saw what was going on? This is how it started, okay? Trump. Now on my Instagram, on my personal Instagram, I posted an article that I found last Sunday. And last Sunday I posted the article, and it said that the guy that was the head of the Proud Boys, he was arrested in D.C. because they were planning to kill all the D.C. traitors on the day of the rally. And then Ted Cruz announced a coalition of senators and senators-elect who have been enlisted for Trump's effort to subvert the whole will of the American voters, which was going to be the vote
against the election.
So this was planned. This was definitely planned. They can't say it wasn't. So on Tuesday, which was the day the confirmation was going to take place, the electoral votes were coming in, and the Senate, the Congress, they were going to approve it. The electors come, they count them, they say, hey, so the states that were against it, the states that were saying that the election was a fraud, their representatives were coming to the floor to say, we don't want to confirm it because we suspect that there was fraud, and those guys need to be investigated. So that was happening. Meanwhile, Trump was having a rally, I guess, to divert the attention from all that was going on to himself, of course. Mm-hmm. And so I said, let me see what this guy is doing. So I turned to it, and I happened to catch this part right here.
Watching one specific state, but they cheated like hell anyway. You have one of the dumbest governors in the United States. And you know, when I endorsed him, I didn't know this guy, at the request of David Perdue, he said, a friend of mine's running for governor, what's his name? And you know the rest. He was in 4th place, 5th place, I don't know, he was doing poorly. I endorsed him, he went like a rocket ship and he won. And then I had to beat Stacey Abrams with this guy. Brian Kemp, I had to beat Stacey Abrams. And I had to beat Oprah, used to be a friend of mine. You know, I was on her last show, her last week. She picked the 5 outstanding people. I don't think she thinks that anymore. And I had a campaign against Michelle Obama and Barack Hussein Obama against Stacey. And I had Brian Kemp. He weighs 130 pounds. He said he played offensive line in football. I'm trying to figure that out. Still trying to figure that. Said that the other night. I was an offensive lineman. I'm saying, really? That must have been a very small team.
This is the shit we're dealing with. Well, that's the shit they're dealing with. So Brian Kemp pledged his allegiance to Trump because, just like he said, he endorsed him when he ran in 2018, and he had all his friends do their little magic on Facebook and influence the election and start all those lies and all the shit Trump is doing for his people, for his election. He did the same thing for the people in Georgia. They started all this stuff, and Stacey Abrams was the monster, and she's going to have the Black Lives Matter. They're going to come to your house and chop off your head. Like, it was a mess then. The same mess that's going on around the country now, that's how it was in Georgia in 2018. And now we see why. So if you think that he's not pissed off because Brian Kemp wouldn't do for him what he did for himself, that's what this all is about. He's pissed off because he won't cheat for him. And whoever won't cheat for him, he gets pissed off and he goes on a Twitter rant. Oh, well, he used to go on a Twitter rant. Or he goes and he does a rally and he talks shit about you and he gets all the little trolls to go against you. So now the Republican Party is split. Before the election, he was telling Republicans not to vote at all because it's rigged. So a lot of people were like, stay home.
Yeah.
So that's why they're saying that's why Kelly and David Perdue lost. I don't really give a shit why they lost because the whole thing that they did is so foul to me. How they had these people going to work knowing how bad coronavirus was. Knowing that they hadn't represented just how deadly this disease was going to be. Yeah. And they didn't even tell you about it. Yeah. They kept it to themselves so that this economy could keep going. I understand people need to make money. But, baby, sometimes you have to adjust what you're doing to fit what's going on. And that's just coming from me, a single black mother that had to do what she had to do to make money. When the financial crisis happened back in 2008, I worked for a financial services institution. And guess what? I had to switch. That's just the way the economy goes. You know, you might not be able to work in financial services. Take your skills and do something else with it. Find out what you need to do and change it up. That's just life. Like, you know, we could have found other ways around this. This is all I'm saying. But you know what? Nope. And even yesterday, they had a press conference about coronavirus in Georgia, which is at the highest it's ever been. We had more deaths this week than we've had since this all started. And you know what Brian Kemp said the other day at the press conference? And I'm like, so being able to look at these people as people and not like in their capacity as governor and looking at them as somebody that's like, you know, you kind of look at people like that and you're like, okay, this is the governor, and you kind of just look at them. But
Esteem, their leadership. When
you take that off, and I took that off, and I looked at him and I was thinking to myself, is he slow?
It is. I think that goes back to, and God forgive me if he sees this. This is something I say to his face. But even look at the governor's race, you know, in 2018. Look at Stacey Abrams. Look at her education compared to Brian Kemp's. look at the work she's done in comparison to Brian Kemp. Just look at, like, if you put them side by side, you know that there's no comparison. And this is just taking bias out of the equation also.
Right.
And so once again, even when I hear Brian Kemp talk on TV, when he's on Channel 2 on the news, and it's kind of like, man, this is our governor? Like, you know, it doesn't give you...
It's disappointing.
It's kind of like how Donald Trump didn't give you that presidential feel.
No.
Like, even presidents that I haven't liked in the past, they still were presidential, you know. But it's like, it literally feels like they found Donald Trump in a trailer park or some other planet and literally just dropped him off here. He doesn't know what the heck is going on outside of himself.
And even though Gabriel Sterling went on TV and told us that these people, because he won't cheat and because he gave accurate results and he's not risking his integrity or his job for the Trump administration, he still voted for him.
Yeah.
What?
I think it's just the Republican loyalty, honestly.
Yeah.
Because
But that's what they accused all this time I've been hearing. You know, the Brexit. Candace Owens, Brexit. We know we got to get the black people. You don't have to just always do Democrats. They got you guys like slaves, and you guys just vote Democrat because you're black. But to me, it's like no.
It's the same on both, and that's why I always say, like, we give us as black people, we give everybody else too much credit. We know all the bullshit we do because we see it, we're in it, we're experiencing it. But if Tuesday didn't prove to you that they do the same bullshit that we do, they just as ruthless as they say we are, like, we give them too much credit. Like, they vote Republican because that's what they used to. That's what they was raised to do. Like,
they are who they said we are.
Yeah.
You
Absolutely.
know what I'm saying?
It's definitely a deflection thing.
And I think, and that's one of the things we always tell people all the time. They better be lucky that black people don't want to get even. Like, you know what I'm saying? We just want what's ours. Like, we don't think we're better than anybody. We don't think, you know what I'm saying, we deserve any more. And it's kind of like, even with how the police handle that, we're not even asking for them to get shot. You know what I'm saying?
We're not asking you to shoot them like you shoot us. We're asking you not to shoot us like you don't shoot them.
Yeah, that's all we asking.
Right.
And people act like that's like calculus. Like, when you say stuff like that, you can literally see the people who don't like us. Like, you could just see it in their brain, just like this does not compute. And it's kind of like, bro, like, y'all really are just this inhumane.
So not less than maybe an hour after this statement was made, among other inflammatory remarks toward Democrats, they left this rally and they went and they marched to the Capitol building. So where were you guys when you saw this, when you found out?
I was down there off the grid.
So how did you find out?
I was actually my fiance. I was at work, and I was driving, and she texted me. She was like, "Do you see this?" And like, you know, I think she said, "Do you see all these people at the Capitol?" And I was just like, in my mind, I was like, "Yeah, I know it's a protest today. I knew it's gonna be a bunch of people, and I didn't think anything else about it." And so when I stopped, I hit her back, and I was like, and she was like, "No, you need to get to a TV. Like, she's like, it's past the protest or whatever." And so I got to our office and I turned the TV on, and I was like, okay, it's really going down. Like, they really doing this for real.
They were scaling the wall. They were knocking down the cops.
Yeah.
But all this summer, all I heard was Blue Lives Matter.
Weed in the Capitol building.
That
wait
was
a
lit,
minute.
man.
What happened to the Blue Lives Matter?
Blue Lives didn't matter on Tuesday. At least not to the people that was hollering it all the time.
It's whatever fits their narrative.
Yeah.
Blue lives only matter when they trying to be petty. Like, you gotta think,
gaslighting.
Man. Listen, I ain't got no problem with white people, but I understand white people. Like, when I went to high school, it was really my first time being around white people on the regular. White people, they're sarcastic. Like, that's how they act. Like, that's just their language of being petty, sarcastic, stuff like that. Like, and that's. The Blue Lives Matter was a sarcastic remark. You know, oh, Black Lives Matter, but Blue Lives Matter. Like, that's just who they are. Like, and once you understand, like you said, you take the titles away. Once you understand who people are,
that's what you need to look at.
I get it.
That's what you need to look at. And Raphael Warnock was saying that during his campaign. To understand who a candidate is when they're in the position that they're in, you have to see what they were doing before they got into the position that they were in.
Yep.
And she was appointed by Brian Kemp. Like, it's a... they're all looking out for each other. They're all homies.
They pull her out of left field to do what they needed her to do.
They strategically placed a person that they could
control.
That they could control. That it's like chess. Everyone always likes to say that, but literally to hold that Senate position so that when decisions were made, she would be able to sway. And so now the situation, the tables are turned. So yeah, I saw it because I was watching this, and then when they got there, I just saw these people scaling the wall, and they were knocking stuff down. I was like, are they serious? And the Confederate flag is a trigger for me. So I'm waiting for them to arrest the guy that walked through there with the Confederate flag.
Let's not just key in on the Confederate flag. Let's key in on all this, the Trump flags and the Jewish hate. Like they had, a lot of them have Camp Auschwitz, which was the deadliest German camp for Jews.
Yeah, I saw a T-shirt with the Camp Auschwitz.
And like it shows you once again the class of people that we're up against. These really are people that hate, minorities. They're people that hate, that they love violence. They love, all the things that shouldn't be glorified, especially in this country. We literally had people invade our capital with Confederate flags, with Trump flags, with, you know what I'm saying?
That was the first time, the last time that somebody came to attack the Capitol was the war. I think it was 1812 or 1814 when the British, when it was the Revolutionary War, and the British soldiers literally burnt it down.
Yep.
And it had to be rebuilt. The next time that it was attempted was on 9/11. Remember, one of those planes headed to the Capitol.
Capitol, yeah.
So these guys were able to do what even the terrorists couldn't do, and it seems like they're just, slow to get these guys in jail and make a big damn deal out of it.
But the scary thing about America is what I'm telling people. Well, of course, I think we all realize this stuff has to happen for change to happen. Change is always volatile. But at the same time, I think it's showing it's showing the black Trump supporters that they're not a part of this pack like they thought they were. It's showing the people that are the poor class that, hey, this really ain't about y'all like y'all thought it was. And most of all, it's showing that this country would rather burn to the ground than change. These people literally went to the Capitol. Now, this the same election that got Donald Trump in office. This the same election that got all these Republican senators and House members into their seats.
Absolutely, but
now that it isn't going in their favor, it's fraud. It's something wrong with it. It's unbelievable. We have to do something about it. And it's just like he said, these people don't care anything about you if it's not if it doesn't go how they think it should go.
And these people that stormed the Capitol, I don't want y'all to get it twisted. Everyone has kind of bought into the narrative that they're this people that live in a trailer and they're from the South, and they're no. One of these guys, let's see, his wife is a doctor. One of these guys was an entrepreneur. One of these women flew her private jet there.
This America. America was at the Capitol on Tuesday.
They've since arrested some of the guys. Why they couldn't wrangle them up while they were down in D.C., I don't know. Just check Best Western, the Holiday Inn, the local Motel 8, Motel 6, or whatever y'all got. I don't know why they didn't just go there and get these people, but they let them go home. There have been some arrests since. The guy with the horns that was whatever he was doing, he's in jail. Jacob Angeli Chansley.
These people were from everywhere.
He turned himself in. Yeah, these people were from everywhere. There was a woman from Kennesaw who died of a medical emergency. Her family is saying that she got trampled, but the police are saying she just died. They're not saying they see any evidence of her having been trampled.
Yeah.
She was from Kennesaw. There was also a man.
I think this the good one right here.
From Atlanta. Was he from Hiawassee? Is that somewhere in Georgia?
Yeah,
Do you know where Hiawassee,
Georgia.
Okay,
yeah.
There was a man from Hiawassee who coincidentally was reported to the police because he showed up to a Black Lives Matter rally in Hiawassee with a shotgun. And, you know, they didn't arrest him or nothing because he didn't do anything, but he just showed up to try to intimidate the people at the Black Lives Matter rally.
Yeah.
Same guy. He was there. They arrested him. Hiawassee, Georgia. And that was another thing, too, I noticed when, you know, we were all, you know, watching the Black Lives Matter rally down in Atlanta and everybody was getting together and it was great. But when you go look at the rallies that were happening in Hiawassee, in Cobb County, out in rural Georgia, they were getting a lot of heat. You know, people were showing up with guns, people with Confederate flags. It was a mess.
But you already know what it is in those areas, you know. And I think so many people don't realize how many black people stay in those areas and why so much voter suppression does go on in those areas.
So for some reason, Trump was telling his people that Mike Pence had the power to override the vote and Mike Pence could have, you know, stopped it somehow. So now he's the target of all their anger. So they actually bought a guillotine or a noose, and they bought a noose there, and they had the whole thing set up because I guess they were going to kidnap Mike Pence.
Mike Pence, yeah.
And I heard them chanting, "Kill Mike, hang Mike, die Mike Pence,
Yeah, I think it
kill
was like
Mike
die Mike
Pence."
Pence, yeah.
And I was like, oh, they were not bullshitting.
Yeah.
They had a guy with zip ties.
Found pipe bombs.
And I'm never going to
everything.
get the image out of my mind of the one woman that got shot. She died as well. 5 people so far have
It's
died.
hard to get the image out your head because they got her dying from every angle. Like,
And they got her
it's
being...
on tape, like...
But
Yeah.
but how about this? How about this? What in the devil possessed them to keep going after the lady got shot? Like, the bullet went, the gun went off, the girl went down, they picked her up, and it didn't deter any of them. They were still standing there.
They did. Okay, so this is one of my... This is going to sound horrible, but this is one of the most interesting parts of the riot on Tuesday is when that lady got shot. Because you could see them chanting, acting up, and trying to get forward. Because, like, the Capitol, it's a big building. You can
It's
go
huge,
a bunch of different
humongous,
ways.
right.
And so what happened, the Secret Service, you know, they hunkered everybody down in a certain area, and they were willing to kill to protect those, you know, those people at the Capitol, those politicians. And so, of course, when they were overrun, they just had to hunker down, and they told the young lady to get back. You know what I'm saying? When they seen her climb the door, they lit into her. And it was all fun and games. You could see the reactions even on the people change. Like, okay, this is real. Like Jabari was saying earlier, it's like they live in a sarcastic world. They think stuff is not real. That was the first time in their riot that I seen people start to change their minds and go different directions. They might have went to the rest of the Capitol, but they didn't go in
that way.
In that way. And I think that's what you know. A lot of those people think this stuff can happen to them. The man, the 50-year-old dude that tased himself to death. You know,
The guy with that tasered himself to death. That was simply irony.
It's crazy. You know.
Mike Pence was hunkered down in a room, in a hardened room at the Capitol, and Donald Trump never even called him to see if he was okay.
But hey, it be
What happened?
Go to Pence Twitter page. He got the Joe Biden and Kamala picture.
Wow.
But it's one of those things to where, as they say, we always say, it be your own people. Like these same people that done took this man's side and rode the shit with him to it's time for it to sink.
So
they dealing with it now.
I'm hearing Twitter chatter that these are the people that Trump is considering pardoning before he leaves next week. Himself, Mark Meadows, Stephen Miller, John McEntee, David Scavino, Ivanka Trump, Jared Kushner, Rudy Giuliani, Kimberly Guilfoyle, Albert Pirro, Lil Wayne, and Kodak Black. There's a list of
his people aren't on the list. The ones that did the rioting.
Not yet. This was before. this list came out before. I'm sure they are now, but this list came out before.
But
Tuesday.
I was wondering, would he be able to pardon them?
Yeah, he would.
Even though they haven't been like
They've been
officially,
charged.
Yeah.
and like prosecuted and all that.
You don't have to
No.
be prosecuted
You
long
can do
charged.
You can do a pre-pardon.
So I
I'm
think
hearing.
the thing I think that would be hilarious is if he leaves without pardoning those people, because like once again he already kind of left them out in the cold with the speech he made afterwards.
Oh yeah, because he told them he was coming with them, and he was in some
Yeah.
tent just checking them out, march down the street by themselves.
And so if he didn't pardon, and it's gonna be hard to pardon all these people, you know what I'm saying? So somebody gonna be in jail, you know.
There's a lot. So here's
With sad face.
here's who's been charged federally so far.
What they charged with?
Cleveland Meredith was charged on January 7th with making interstate threats to Speaker Nancy Pelosi. He's actually said he was going to shoot her when he got there publicly. Richard Barnett of Arkansas, charged on January 7th with knowingly entering or remaining in a restricted building on grounds without lawful entry.
Just the guy with the feet up on the desk.
Barnett allegedly entered the restricted area of Speaker's House's office, when that's the one with the feet on the desk. So he's been charged with, he charged himself in. So big ups to him for that. Lonnie Kaufman of Alabama was charged with possession of unregistered firearm and carrying a pistol without a license. She was in a vehicle that contained 11 explosives and Molotov cocktails and firearms. She was in possession of 2 firearms. She was arrested and is currently being held in detention. Her hearing is scheduled for January 12th. Mark Leffingwell, charged with knowingly entering and remaining in a restricted building. He entered the Senate side of the Capitol when stopped by law enforcement, struck an officer in the helmet and chest. Oh, okay. Christopher Alberts, carrying and having readily accessible on the grounds of the United States Capitol a firearm, a Taurus G2C 9mm handgun, and ammunition. He appeared in court and he was released just in time for the inauguration.
Oh yeah.
How do you get released on federal charges?
Being white happens.
He appeared in the district court and was released. He's scheduled for a hearing January 28th. Joshua Pruitt, same thing, entering and knowingly remaining in a restricted building. He appeared in court. His scheduled hearing is January 28th.
You know what I'm saying? They letting these people make bail. We would have been in Guantanamo Bay until our
right.
Until our trial.
We never made it. Are you kidding me? That would be a bloodbath.
If that best case scenario, you know.
Matthew Council, knowingly entering and remaining the Capitol building. Same with everybody else. He pushed the officer when the officer stopped him. These people were attacking the cops. Did you see the one cop that got killed because they beat him in the head with a fire extinguisher?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Cindy Fitchett, same thing, entering and knowingly remaining in a building. Disorderly conduct. Michael Carrizo, Florida, knowing entering the building, violent entry, disorderly conduct. Douglas Sweet, Florida, knowingly entering and remaining in a restricted building, Capitol grounds, violent entry, disorderly conduct. Bradley Ruskilis of Illinois, knowingly entering, blah, 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 same thing, entry, disorderly conduct. Terry Brown.
And all these are federal charges, right? Are these federal charges?
Yep. Knowingly entering, da-da-da-da-da, Capitol grounds, blah, 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 blah. Thomas Gallagher, knowingly entering, Capitol grounds, blah, 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 disorderly conduct. Jacob Anthony Chansley, this is the guy with the horns. We already talked about him. He was taken into custody on Saturday. Adam Johnson, Florida, Capitol grounds, blah, 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 blah. The FBI is still seeking information to help identify individuals who actively instigated violence on January 6th in Washington, D.C., and they have several pictures of these people on their website. Also charged Friday in West Virginia State Delegate Derek Evans. Now, he was my favorite because his grandmother was on camera, and his grandma, let me see if I can find what his grandma told y'all. First of all, she told y'all to get the hell off her property with that damn camera because her son, her grandson, let's listen to, when they, Derek, he was going live. He was on there. We're storming the Capitol.
Told on himself.
And then here he is. Here we go. He's filming himself now. They're storming the Capitol. They're at the door. The door was cracked. We're going in, y'all. Listen to him start coughing. I hope they had their masks on. I hope they had their masks and their PPE when they arrested her.
We're in.
He's recording himself now. This is not some.
It's commentating. It's
Yeah.
live commentating.
Keep it moving, baby. Stay on your feet.
Mind you, Derek just got elected. He's a member of the West Virginia House of Delegates.
Just got elected. Like literally feet not even wet yet. Just got elected.
They're so proud of themselves. But guess what happened? The feds came to knocking on Derek's door, and his whole mind was changed. Then he didn't have that same energy. His energy was very different. His head is held down. The feds are pushing him in the car, and here comes his granny.
Anything you want to say on his behalf?
He's a fine man. And thank you, Mr. Trump, for inviting a riot at the White House.
And you're his grandmother?
And I love she admitting. I love to hear it. I love to hear it.
He's been since let out on bail. And that's just a few of the 50 or 80 some odd. Now it's 80 some odd people that have been arrested since Tuesday. Hey.
And they better keep going. I want that number to keep going up and up because they track us all the way down if they had the chance.
And at the same time, bro, like, you got to think, just like, they fighting for what they believe in. Like, they going to jail for what they believe in. Like, so it's just like, that's their fight.
I fully agree with that. That's why
shit,
I always say
that's
that.
their fight. Like,
Black people
Low-key,
stand back and stand by. Like, this is not our fight. Like, let Blue Lives Matter and the police fight it out if they want to. Let the Republicans fight within themselves. Like this,
because they're gonna have to reinvent themselves anyway.
Oh yeah.
So they're gonna have to separate the QAnon Republicans, the Trump following Republicans, from the Ronald Reagan Republicans.
But that's the thing that I don't think people realize. I was joking that Trump really did make America great again in 4 short years. He gave us the
House,
presidency, the
Senate.
House, and the Senate. And so it's one of those things to where the Republicans now, they've weakened themselves because Trump's definitely going to keep this following. So those people are gone from the Republican Party. And they're going to have to figure it out.
Since Tuesday, the U.S. Capitol Police Chief, the head of the Capitol Police, Stephen Sund, is resigned. He's resigned. Kelly Loeffler, there's no shortage of her sound bites around town. We've been listening to her ass for months on TV all day. She conceded.
She did.
And she said the man's name.
Instead of.
Single American who believed in me and our campaign. We accomplished so much in a short time, from delivering relief to hardworking Georgians during this pandemic, to funding our rural hospitals and healthcare, advocating for our farmers.
Yeah, whatever.
Our veterans, I
can't. Like, I just want to get to the part where she says.
Conservative American values. Unfortunately, we came up slightly short in the runoff election.
Yeah, you did.
And earlier today, I called Reverend Warnock to congratulate him and to wish him well in serving this great state.
Thank you, Kelly. We appreciate that.
Want to hear nothing
Because
else
David
from you.
Perdue, in his concession, he didn't even mention John Ossoff's name because he's a coward. He wouldn't show up for the debates because he's a coward. And now he doesn't have a job because he's a coward. So we wish him well in his retirement.
I do not.
And
that was solely her. She wishes him well. I wishes him what he gave us, which was, I can't curse on here, can I?
yeah, you can. You can curse. Shoot. This is an adult show.
But I'm just saying my well wishes aren't for, because this man has been in office and has sat by idly while people have suffered. You know, the coronavirus is real, contrary to what people say. People are out of jobs. There's people suffering out here. And for people like David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler, Donald Trump, and the whole party, for them to supposedly represent people, like when you're president, you're just not a Democratic president or a Republican president. Like, you have to look out for everybody. So I think I'm proud to see Georgia leading the way in, you know, flipping a traditionally red state to blue to bring change nationally. Because you know, this was the fourth quarter. This was, you know, game 7. This was like, we really needed this. So I'm happy that everybody went out and voted, and that everybody, you know, did their part, because, you know, now we can really try to make some stuff happen.
Before the shit went down on Tuesday, before the bloodbath and before all the drama, she was planning on saying that she objected to the Electoral College vote.
Yeah.
She was one of the people that objected to the Electoral College vote. So she was one of the people, so you don't get no props, Ma, because you're one of the people that was fanning those flames.
They have blood on their hands now. It's kind of like they're trying to, like, once again, when they realized that life was real, these people really stormed the Capitol, people really died, they tune changed. And it's kind of like, do y'all not realize we have y'all on tape? We have y'all, you know what I'm saying that y'all support this. It's no distancing yourself. And that's her, that's Ted Cruz, Raphael Cruz, I'm sorry.
Raphael Warnock, Ted Cruz.
No, Ted Cruz.
Oh,
Ted,
his name is
Raphael. Yeah.
You know, because him and like what's her name? They changed their names to sound more white.
Yeah, sound more white.
To take the Latin, or like Nikki Haley, her name is Nimrata or something like that. She's Indian.
Most people don't even realize she's Indian.
Most people realize, they don't realize she's Indian. Just like Kamala, because David Perdue pretended like he couldn't say her name. She's Indian too, Nikki Haley, but she, you know, they kind of like add those nicknames to sound less ethnic.
Bobby
I
Jindal.
guess, to be more Bobby Jindal.
Yep.
Remember him? Where's he?
Where he needs to be nowhere. Like he one of them people. He burnt his bridges. Like he got to chill out.
Kelly Loeffler, 2 days before the election, promised that she would object to certifying the vote, the electoral vote, denying each and every person in Georgia that voted. Forget what they voted. I don't want to hear that. I'm not going to go for that. Totally going against her oath to represent the people that she was supposed to represent. So y'all did the right thing by putting her out.
Yeah.
Because that's not what your job is. Even if it's something that you don't agree with, you represent the people. So you stand up there and you represent the damn people. The people voted for Biden. And you were going to sit your ass up there and not do that. That is just terrible. And I'm sick of them calling these votes illegal. I'm sick of them ignoring the black vote. They don't poll black people, so all of the votes that came in surprised them so much to the point where they called them illegal votes. It was just a mess. And I'm just so glad it worked out the way it did. And I'm so glad that we fell back and watched it.
Yeah.
You know?
I think this is an opportunity because as we saw, the black voters won this election.
Yes.
We were the reason for whatever change that we were looking to get. The black voters were the reason for that. Now this is an opportunity because a lot of the black voters, they didn't vote. They don't vote. That's why the numbers did seem crazy. This is the opportunity for the government to show black people why your vote matters or if your vote matters.
Yeah.
I think these next 2 to 4 years is really gonna tell a lot.
Yeah.
So I mean, the ball is in their court. The ball is in their court, and I don't feel like we should let off the pressure. It's definitely time to apply more pressure, if anything.
I agree with that. We were talking before the show, and you and Kymmy were having a little back and forth, and you were basically saying we don't have time to even let them get in office good before we, keep the pressure on them. And I agree with that because there are no excuses now. Like, we did our part. And I'm so glad that we're a part of history here in Georgia because I'm from Mississippi, and we know how these southern states work. And so the thing that makes me happy about what we've done here in Georgia is that it's literally a blueprint for how to change the rest of these southern states. And it's scaring places like Texas. It's scaring places like Louisiana. It's scaring places like Mississippi because these places have been the way they are for so long. So to see us do the impossible here in Georgia, literally, what I'm saying, it has them shook. So I really want to see, Joe Biden has no excuses not to be able to give us what he promised us, all the way from, coronavirus relief to stimulus check to student loans to health care. Like, we want it all because we've been waiting long enough for it. So I really hope that, like Jabari said, that, it's time. Let's keep this pressure on their neck.
So when Philadelphia, when Pennsylvania, that was one of the states that they were contesting. Arizona was one.
Yeah.
Pennsylvania was one.
I have a question for you. Like, what do you think? Okay, Seth, for instance, like once again, Seth, worst case scenario, there was voter fraud here in Georgia. They found it. He wins the state of Georgia. He still didn't win. What do you think their game plan is? Because it's such an uphill battle, for them to really win this election.
I think that their game plan is for somebody to come swoop in and take over that base.
Okay.
I think that a few people are rallying them for that vying for that position. Ted Cruz is one. I think that he,
known.
whenever island or whatever they do to silence Donald Trump, there's still a base of 70 million people.
Yeah.
And that's not to be taken lightly.
That's true.
You can easily swoop in and take over that base and Ted Cruz is one of the people that is doing that. Ted Cruz, Josh Hawley, Cindy
they
Hyde,
been giving it to Josh Hawley.
Cindy Hyde Smith,
She don't know which way is up.
Cynthia Loomis,
She just
Roger
evil.
Marshall, Rick Scott, and Tommy Tuberville.
Yeah.
Even after the shit went down on Tuesday, and I'm so proud that they went back in and didn't let them win and say, okay, we're not doing this. They went back in that night.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, y'all be out here screaming and hollering and protesting and rallying, and you base every candidate, you base every candidacy, you base everything off of the Second Amendment. But all y'all really did at the end of the day was go in somebody's office and ruffle some papers around, and
Hopefully. Because you really don't know.
We
who
don't know
was
if
in
they
that
planted
building.
bombs in there.
Not even with planting bombs. I don't
They
know.
had pipe bombs for sure.
I'm sure they probably, put the sensitive information up, but you don't know what.
Because they stole some laptops.
And honestly, that's what that's one of the things that I think about that, of course, is not being expressed on the media. Like, once again, if those people got into that building, that's the Capitol building now. That ain't the 7-Eleven, that ain't Quick Trip, that ain't Walmart. Like, they went to the United States Capitol building and forced their way in. There could have been anybody in that crowd. Like, there could have been foreign, actors. There could have been spies.
Right.
There could have been.
Yeah.
The crowd distracted all that. They behind the scenes moving
Because
quietly.
some laptops were stolen. So this is the thing. Like, we don't know what went on. I agree with you. You're right. We don't know what they were doing. Right. I'm saying that they just went in there and ruffled some papers around because of the way that they be hollering about they're not with the Democrats because the Democrats are going to take their guns. The Second Amendment is literally based on a scenario where you have to overtake the government. In the case of fighting a tyranny, that is what the Second Amendment is about.
The right to bear arms.
The right to bear arms against a tyranny.
Yep, a tyrannous government.
That's what it's about. And so here's the people in Georgia that even after the shit went down, and they went back that same night to vote again. Nothing that happened changed their minds. They were still gonna vote against it in Georgia.
And they didn't know I don't think they knew the seriousness of
bullshit.
Of what I don't think I think they knew. I don't think it had set in that like tomorrow this gonna be dealt with. In that sense.
Doug Collins, this is just Georgia, because we're all in here Georgia. You name a state after Georgia, I'll pick the people out. But just for Georgia, right now, Doug Collins, he gotta go. He was on the campaign trail too. They thought that he was gonna be what David Perdue is, but Trump didn't get behind Doug Collins. That was the first Republican riff here in Georgia. Rick Allen, Earl Carter, Drew Ferguson, Austin Scott, Jody Hyde, and my representative from the 11th District, Barry Loudermilk. They all gotta go. As far as I'm concerned, they're all a part of this shit.
They tired. Like you can't disassociate yourself with it now.
Your hometown, your home state, Mississippi. These people gotta go. Michael Guest.
Yep.
Trent Kelly.
Yep.
Stephen Palazzo. They gotta go. Ohio, your home state. Jim Jordan. Bob Gibbs. And Bill Johnson. Oh, and you people up north, don't think that you're exempt, okay?
Yeah, because Ohio is definitely down south. We might as well just move Ohio down here. Y'all be acting up there, man.
You might as well.
Ohio is an honorary Southern.
New York, you guys got to watch out for Elise Stefanik and Lee Zeldin. I don't see New Jersey, my home state. Jeff Van Drew, W. Gregory Staub.
I guarantee you, all these people got their heads in the hole right now.
Texas, your list is so damn long. Dan Crenshaw, Kevin Brady, Michael Burgess, Michael Cloud, Mike Conway, Bill Flores, Luis Gomert, Lance Gooden, Kenny Merchant, Randy Weber, Roger Williams, Ron Wright, Jody Arrington, and Brian Bobbin. They all gotta go. As far as I'm concerned, everybody that had anything to do with this shit, you gotta go. This is just like the Civil War. And they've been talking about Civil War all this time. But as black people, we thought they were coming for us, didn't we? We thought they were coming for us. We all been like, yo, we got to get our shit. We got to get our guns. We got to get our bullets. We got to get our ammo up. And they had a thing. They had a noose out there, and they wasn't thinking about. I saw a couple of black people, of course. You know, the leaders of the Blacks for Trump or whatever. A couple of them were at the first rally. Mm-hmm. You know, you saw a couple of scragglers out there that were black.
Of course. That
were kind of like, you know, to me, it was like, you know, you were there that day. Mm-hmm. And you kind of just like, oh, the door is open. Let me see what's going on. You know, they were just, you know, I didn't see anybody.
Have you seen the dude
with the red hat on?
Yeah, with the red hat on, the bubble
Just
jacket.
standing there like, he got his hands on his hips like, what the fuck are y'all doing?
You know they found him, man. He was like,
really?
He was literally like, I was just trying to get my stimulus check.
You lying? Is that why all the memes are going around like me breaking into the Capitol, changing the amount of my stimmy?
Yeah,
okay.
I'll tag you after we get off air, but yeah, it's pretty funny. That's where it came from.
That is hilarious. Yo, they gotta go. They gotta go, including the Barry Loudermilk.
Yeah, I agree.
His office is in the Galleria. I'm not saying nothing, but if you want to
powerful family right there, that Loudermilk name ring pretty hard around here, so it's gonna be pretty interesting to see how these people come back. Everybody that's anybody that has something to do with this got to go. Yep. They violated. And they didn't violate black people. They violated the country. Yeah, they violated the country. We ain't got nothing to do with this. This is nothing. And I've seen some people, and you got to be careful because, you know, everybody has an agenda. Just like Jay Black said, they're just like us. Some of our leaders have an agenda. Oh, yeah. All kinfolk ain't kinfolk. Some of our people have an agenda. And I saw some people saying, oh, the noose was out there. You know, they were trying to intimidate black people. Baby, they weren't thinking about black people on Tuesday. Mm-hmm. They might think about black people on Monday and Wednesday and Thursday. But on Tuesday, they weren't thinking about y'all.
They
that
just
news was
like
for,
Trump.
for Mike Pence.
They doing like with Trump. He gonna cater to whoever is feeding into. So if us as black people was all feeding to Trump, he gonna say and do whatever. Like they gonna get like. They was going against the votes. That's what this whole thing was about. Black people is doing their job, and they're literally gassing it up. That's it.
That's it. Because let me tell you something. If I was at the Capitol that day, I've seen some of the representatives going on these talk shows doing interviews this week. Baby, I would have had a neck brace, a fucking crutch.
Pain and suffering.
Somebody would have had to push me to, baby, mental anguish. That's what they do. Like, Wake up, people. I'm suing everybody.
I will not be at work tomorrow.
Look, I don't know if I can. I don't know. Like shell shock, PTSD,
Trauma,
all that shit.
All of it.
Now,
Friday, my neck, my back.
The elder Clyburn.
You hear what he said?
He said, how the hell did they even know what my office was? I was on the 3rd floor. He said, people that work here don't even know what my office is.
Once again, just like Jay Black said, like
inside job.
Inside job, period. Inside job. They said, because he said he had 2 offices. He said he had one with his name on it. He said
no one even knows that they be up there.
Yeah, and he said he had another office that nobody, you know what I'm saying? No, he said they came straight to his office. They came straight to their office to look for him.
So you guys, we got to be careful because, you know, we have a QAnon representative in Georgia.
I know that. Like, that's crazy, isn't it? Like, it's where is she from?
What's her name?
It's a woman, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, it's a woman.
But I read a brief article on it, but I was kind of skimming, but I was just kind of like, Like, you know, because crazy stuff happen all the time here, so. But it's really fun to see these QAnon people, like, their beliefs are so far-fetched that, like, it's just hard to take them seriously.
Oh, no, you take them seriously. Because I know a lot of black people, because we've been raised to mistrust the government, rightfully so. Mm-hmm. Rightfully so.
Yeah.
But QAnon played into all of our mistrusts.
Yeah.
And so we found common ground with them. But I don't think we knew what we were doing. As black people, I'm going to give my black friends specifically. I don't know about anybody else. I'm speaking on behalf of the friends that I have that somehow got sucked into QAnon beliefs. Mm-hmm. They played on our distrust or mistrust or distrust of the government, and they hit all of our points, and they sucked some black people in. Mm-hmm. So black people were also sharing some QAnon theories on the internet unknowingly, building their base Because I know people that don't know what QAnon is.
Yeah, that's what I think
And
most people don't even know.
they were sending QAnon shit to me like.
I don't even think most people actually know what QAnon is. And that's the thing, like, when people do share stuff like that, it's kind of like, bro, do you even know, like, you know, how far-fetched this is?
Her name is Marjorie Taylor Greene. She expressed racist views and support for QAnon conspiracy theories in a series of online videos, and she won her election. In Georgia, she won a House seat representing Northwest Georgia. Her candidacy was bolstered by President Donald Trump, who called her a future Republican star. And that's what he does. He calls you up, he threatens you. If you don't do it, he wants you to do what he wants you to do,
It's like the
you know,
mob.
you'll be a star. Yeah. You know, you'll go viral.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just defy your oath, go against your morals, do what I tell you to do, and everyone will be talking about you tomorrow. So,
and that ship usually sell pretty fast for most people.
she pledged to fight hard to make sure Nancy Pelosi and the squad and the radical Democrats don't fucking say that anymore, okay? That's out. That's out. That should have went out when Kelly Loeffler got out. Don't say anything radical Democrats anymore because the radicals ran up in the damn.
Right. There's no comparison now.
The radical right. Can we switch that right now?
That actually has a good ring to it.
It sounds better anyway. So she said she's going to make sure that Nancy Pelosi and the squad and the radical Democrats in the House do not steal anything away from America because this country was never meant to be a socialist nation. She's a businesswoman, a political newcomer who's gained large following on social media. So, you know how I always say don't follow people that aren't representing your values because having a following is like having a vote? Mm-hmm. We literally put these people on a pedestal to get snatched up to represent us. Mm-hmm. She ain't shit. Mm-hmm. Did you read anything in this description of her that said she's qualified to represent anybody in any capacity?
I think that goes back to what you were saying earlier. That
she's willing to lie. Yeah. That's basically what they're saying is she's willing to lie and represent these conspiracy theories to get where she needs to be. And that's what her qualification is. All you got to do is be willing to lie. You want to lie? You don't give a fuck about lying? Okay, come work for the Trump administration.
And just like you said, we know it's 70 million people that'll back that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You
so
inherit
like
70 million people. Yeah. Ted Cruz and Lindsey Graham. Ted Cruz, I've been saying this. I used to live in Texas before I moved here. And I've been saying this. I looked at my Facebook from my memories from 2015 and I said, Ted Cruz is trying to turn this country into Texas. He's been doing this for years. It's just that now is his time. It's his opportunity. He sees a time to swoop in, grab up all the Trump followers, and continue that conspiracy theory, lies, bullshit. And he wants to be the darling of the Republicans now. So he just goes on tour around the country, and he's got no personality. He's so corny. He doesn't have the Trump pizzazz. I don't see the pizzazz in Trump, but y'all do. But whatever that is, Ted Cruz don't even have that. Because when he came to Georgia and he started campaigning for Loeffler and Purdue, he was he was trying to rally up the crowd. They wasn't paying him no mind. He don't have it, but he tries. Lindsey Graham called the Secretary of State and tried to ask him what he could find. There was so much election meddling going on in Georgia. It just baffles my mind that at the end of all this, Brad, whatever his name is, Raffensperger, really still stood up there and said, and I voted for Trump. Like, what? Hey, and he voted for him again.
Stand by your man.
Even to your detriment?
Yes.
Y'all.
Stand by your man.
Y'all. Whiteness is going to kill you.
That's their problem.
That's what I'm getting at. That's exactly what I'm getting at.
That's their problem.
Exactly what I'm getting at.
At the end of the day, we got what we wanted out of this election. Like,
I love everybody. I love everybody. I'm just saying this to people so that they can save themselves. Do your research. Know the truth. Trump appointed these judges. Mm-hmm. He appointed these judges. They didn't even go and say that there was some election fraud. He lost 60-something lawsuits. 60.
And that's the interesting thing to like when you talk to the people that support him, it's like they don't get that. Like this isn't us.
So you mean
know
to
what I'm
tell
saying?
me
Doing
that?
this to y'all. This is literally Republican.
So you mean to tell me that the Democrats influenced the judges
right.
that he appointed?
And I was talking to
Come
this.
on, man.
I was talking to this guy online, and I was trying to explain it to him, and he was like, "Yeah, like all of them, none of them have backbones, none of them have spines. They're not gonna stand up." And I was like, "Do you know how many judges? Like, you know?" So basically, what you're telling me is everything you believed in, everybody you supported, everything that you champion is a lie. You know what I'm saying? And so it either makes you look stupid as hell. You know what I'm saying? And you got to admit that, which they not gonna want to do, or on the other hand, like once again, you have to say, okay, this doesn't make sense. And they're not going to do that either. So it lets you know just how willfully ignorant people want to be.
So I have a question. Do you guys think that he really believes this? Or somebody is feeding him this? Like, does he know? Yeah, does he know that the election was not meddled with?
He doesn't
Trump
care.
He's just fighting to the end. Like, he's making the most out of his time. I don't think he never gave a fuck about none of this.
So do they know that they're lying? That's what I'm saying. Like, is somebody telling them, hey, there was somebody that stole the box in Fulton County and Cobb County? They looked at the Cobb County votes 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
They looked at Georgia 3 times. But then they went back and looked at Cobb County because Cobb County, what they can't believe is Cobb County went blue. That's what they can't believe.
And it's really deep blue. It ain't like light blue.
It was really because, you know, most people, it was a lot of people that never voted that voted. Like,
and you don't take the census, so they don't know that you're there.
Yeah, and that's really what they were so shocked. Like, they were shocked. They never seen
so
nothing
shocked.
like this.
And his excuses, the only excuse I've ever heard him say out loud was the polls didn't predict this. The polls said. The polls don't really determine anything because they don't poll black people.
Yeah, that's why I would say they don't. I call us the invisibles. They don't poll us because they don't want to.
Because they don't know we're there. Because usually we don't participate in the census.
We really trying to be off the radar. Like like growing up, even it was just like we always did everything to be off the radar to just kind of. You know, slide
right? Like you'll vote,
and that's literally a phrase between black men. Hey, what you doing? Hey, I'm just staying out the way, man. Like you know what I'm saying? Like that's in us. That's in us.
Because historically, when y'all find out we voting and stuff like that, you send the henchmen out.
But the funny thing is, the same thing that they're trying to use as a tool is they're throwing their side, which is misinformation. Like you know, like once again, if you believed in the truth and you cared about it, you would have known that black and Latino people are moving to Cobb County at alarming rates. You know what I'm saying? And because of gentrification, white people move back into the city. You know what I'm saying? So, like, once again, if you sit back and you watch what's going on, if they did, Republicans here in Georgia have got so cocky. When the last time you seen Republicans do voter registration?
And that's what
you know
that's what
saying?
Gabriel Sterling was saying. Gabriel Sterling was saying that when you guys were attacking them, they were mobilizing.
We were mobilizing. And now they gonna have to figure out what the hell to do these next, 2 to 4 years to even try to get the ball rolling in the right direction for them because their party is in disarray right now. Like,
I
feel like we should, like, again, we know the answers. I feel like we should just be proactive. Like, we can't worry about the Republican Party or whatever party you not support. Like, I can't worry if I'm in a game, say this football game, I can't worry about what this other team is doing. I have to worry about what my team is doing. I'm trying to win. The only reason I'm gonna lose is because I beat myself, because I'm not focused. And we have to be focused. If we have an agenda, we do have an agenda. It's things that we want. And in order to do that, we have to focus on what we're doing, not, Brian Kemp and Trump, they're beefing. I don't give a damn. I understand, it might affect us a little bit, but we got power right now. We got the control. So it's like we have to focus on getting what we want out of this. We can't let these 2 years go by and not get nothing. And then we're going to be back in the same point like, voting don't matter. This
we always got to, like you said, I don't know if it's one of those things is, I don't know if it's the Black Voter Initiative. One of those Black Voter Initiatives, there's so many groups and we have so many people that think that we're responsible for this. But it's like one of their slogans is organize, vote, eat, repeat, something like that. Like it's a never-ending thing. Like it doesn't stop. And I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted. I don't even want to hear the word vote. Just give me a minute. Because I know next year we're already gonna. I think low key that was Stacey Abrams starting her gubernatorial campaign.
Yeah, I'm about to say she got to run for governor again now because like once again it's gonna be hard to stop a train moving downhill.
She's
like
up
that.
for re-election next year. I think Mayor Keisha is up for re-election next year. This is a never-ending thing, y'all. This is what we have to do. This is just what we're. So, young voter, how did you experience this whole thing? You got a mic? Oh, here, there's one. Come over here because you can use it. Oh, we got a situation. The whole. But I really want to hear what you have to say because I want to hear what the young Gen Z got to say. How did you experience this whole thing? How did you experience Tuesday's actions, Gen Z?
You want to start with just like the Capitol Hill?
Yeah. What did you feel about that?
Well, I know I kind of missed the opening portion of the show, but I know you guys said something like an inside job or something to that effect. I mean, of course, I think I've even said this before, how like these extremist or white supremacist groups, they kind of work hand in hand with law enforcement. And there was even
we've been saying that, right?
Right.
Black Lives Matter has been saying that. A lot of black movements have been saying like, okay, y'all, the white supremacists, they've infiltrated law enforcement.
Right. That was a report back in 2006, I think under George Bush, that detailed that.
COINTELPRO.
Yeah. So I think it's just perpetuated and it's just evolved to where it is now. So when you look at the events that took place, it's like there was no resistance, and you just and of course
It's obvious.
You compare those protests or radicals, whatever, to Black Lives Matter and the personnel that was issued, and you just in comparison, you see what it is. You see it's just about race, of course, as it's always been. But like I said, I mean, me, I'm not really too political. Like I don't really identify with either party.
No. It's not about that. But just as a young person, like this is you are very young to have experienced so many historical events in your short life. So it's really crazy because you are a generation of people that is unprecedented because you've experienced several historical events in your lifetime. So when you saw what happened at the Capitol on Tuesday, what was your reaction?
Like I said, it's just, of course, you kind of see the complicity. I mean, it's we see this before with Charlottesville.
So it was no surprise to you. You were just like, yeah,
right.
We've been saying this. We know that this is how they do.
Of course, even like leading up to the election, like you've seen how his base has just gotten stronger, and it's really just codified, like to like the average viewer, to somebody from just looking inside. It's like, man, they'll just say anything, or they're crazy, or they'll lie, but in their mind, they're sticking to a code to where it is. Yeah, they're just focused on the interest of white supremacy, and even historically, they'll say anything. They'll take any religion, like as long as white supremacy is at the core of their foundation, they'll say anything. No rules. So it's like all bets are off. So and they'll use force, and just historically, it's kind of the same playbook. They'll use force and war,
whatever they need to do,
weaponry, to just maintain that status quo. So to me, of course, like of course, you kind of see they kind of pitted, Republican, Democrat, but we also have to look at the Democrats' role in perpetuating that with, the killings of unarmed black men by some of these law enforcement groups that were infiltrated, as we before mentioned. So, and you look at that and how they weren't charged, and, George Floyd,
Breonna Taylor.
Yeah, these people were killed in, Democratic majority cities, and the Democrats in those cities didn't punish these people. So it's just both sides. You've kind of seen they perpetuated the event. So it's just,
I think that hopefully that's going to change. It's one of the things that the campaign of Biden and Harris ran on. Here's a wipe in case you guys want to switch microphone. Ooh, cool. So we like you said, keep your foot on their neck. We're going to make sure that they are held accountable. One of the things I wanted to get to before we ended the show, coronavirus. There's a new strain. These viruses mutate. We knew it was going to mutate. We figured that the mutation would be the second wave, but we've never come out of the first wave because capitalism. So, you know, we have to take it upon ourselves to stay safe. We've all been socially distanced. I keep my gun on me at all times. I'm not going to say the name because they're not paying us, but I don't play, y'all. And so you know, you got to take it upon yourself because obviously the government doesn't care. Brian Kemp opened Georgia maybe 3 weeks after the shutdown, and we're still suffering the consequences of that. I think we've reached 10,000 deaths. This country is seeing 4,000 deaths a day. California had to resort to putting people in the gift shop. And we really, and these people at this rally were maskless. I see no better opportunity to wear a mask than committing a crime, but hey, who am I? You know, I guess they had a point to prove that they, you know, they're going to stick it to the man by not wearing a mask. And so they're probably putting a lot of people's lives in jeopardy. Hopefully some of them will be in jail. And so, you know, but we got to stay safe, y'all. We got to take it upon ourselves. The vaccine. Operation Warp Speed got the vaccine approved. Operation Warp Speed took some of the red tape out of the process. It got the vaccine approved quicker. This technology, the scientific technology that they've used in this vaccine is not new. They had been, you know, honing this thing for a while. So now they found a way to use it. Specifically, I want to say not Pfizer. What's the one that came out after Pfizer? The Moderna vaccine, they've had that in the pipeline for a minute. They developed this vaccine, and the investors in that company were kind of disappointed because they didn't have anything to use it on. And then all of a sudden, coincidentally, coronavirus comes around. So just, you know, I guess good for them and the technology that they developed. It works against the coronavirus. It allegedly works against the new strain. I've not gotten the vaccine. I'm not in any of these groups. Trump had positioned himself to give the vaccine to who he wanted to give it to. He mentioned specifically not giving it to New York because they weren't participating in whatever. You know, he does that. He does that. He wasn't going to give the vaccine to the states that didn't vote for him. And that's just how he was going to run this shit. That's how he's run everything. When somebody shows you who they are, believe them the first time. He was impeached for doing this to the Ukrainians. He didn't want to give them what he was going to give them until they did what he needed them to do and find dirt on this person. He tried to shake down Brett Raffensperger. He tried to shake down everybody in Georgia about the vote. And he tried to shake down people. That's just what he does. So now we're in a position where the vaccines are being held up by his administration, whatever. They're done, but, you know, he's giving them out to who he wants to give them out to. Apparently what Joe Biden's going to do is open the gate and let them all just, every state is in charge of the coronavirus. Every state has a different rule how they're going to give them out. I think over 4 million people have been vaccinated so far in this country. It's a personal decision. What you're going to have to decide is, are you going to take the chances of getting the virus and fighting it off? Are you going to take the chances of getting the vaccine, maybe suffering a side effect? You know what I'm saying? And also maybe still getting coronavirus, because some of these, the most effective vaccine is only 95% effective. So you still have a 5% chance. So you have to weigh out your options. It's a personal decision. Most of the people I know have been vaccinated because most of the people I know had to get vaccinated to go to public school. And most of the people I know went to public school. I went to a private school, and I got vaccinated at school because back in the day, that's what they did. Like I said, I wouldn't go on these campaigns like, don't do it, y'all. It's a personal decision. You know what I'm saying? Healthcare workers right now, people over the age of 75. Brian Kemp said the other day, he admitted that the Department of Health website is probably undercounting the amount of cases. So that means that there's probably more than they're counting. Be careful, y'all, because asymptomatic carriers are the ones that are spreading it the most. So asymptomatic means you're not showing any symptoms. I had a friend that suspected that he had COVID. He had got the antibodies test, and he had the antibodies. He had a cough. He said, I didn't pay no attention to it. Yeah, that was a symptom. So you're not asymptomatic if you have a symptom. Testing is not preventative. Testing is just for seeing where it is. You don't get tested to prevent COVID. You get tested just to see how much of the spread is going on. So if you think, I'm gonna go to this party, but let me get tested first, you can get tested and get COVID from somebody after you leave the testing site that same day, not show any symptoms for 3 or 4 days, go to the party, infect everybody, and then all of a sudden you have symptoms. You know what I'm saying? That's how it works, and that's why we're not catching it like we're supposed to catch it. Because people think, well, if I was sick, I would stay home. No, that's not how it works. Even when you catch the novel or, any coronavirus, not the novel one, but a cold is a coronavirus. The flu is a coronavirus. There's a bunch of different coronaviruses. Even if you catch a cold, you don't show symptoms right away. But the time that you're not showing symptoms is the time that you're most contagious. So everybody be careful. You guys know anybody that had coronavirus yet? A lot, right?
Like I told you, my homie
It's not
died.
affected anybody.
My homie died from it.
It hasn't
On New Year's
not
Eve.
affected. I think everyone knows someone at this point. And this country has done a horrible job at managing it because we are the highest. And it all has to do with our leadership.
I think that's the crazy thing, because when you see the number and then you see the number of Americans, like
Any other country.
Yeah, there are a chunk of that
One
number.
third of the whole of the world's cases are here.
And
I don't really look into that too much neither. Like I say, I'm not really paying attention to what other countries are doing because, again, we are America and our reporting is maybe a lot more efficient than a lot of places. So we don't know how they're reporting. It's like they say China is suppressing numbers. Like, I don't really know how they're reporting to say, they're doing it better over there. Like,
one of the things that I think that most people don't realize is that we actually, we have a World Health Organization that keeps track
but that's
of
why Trump took us out of the
World Health Organization.
Because now we don't know. See, being ignorant is bliss, and that's what he wanted us to do. He he cut us off from so many treaties that we had with other countries, and it wasn't like he's like, we pay for that. Okay, you pay for a subscription to Amazon, you pay for Netflix. You need to be a part of. We are not an island. The world is connected, and we're seeing that now more than ever. The coronavirus is showing us how quickly things can hop from place to place to place. We are forever connected as a humanity.
And I think with this being, quote unquote, the greatest country in the world, when you see that there are countries that are nowhere near the size and have nowhere near the economic power or the resources that we have, are pretty much back to normal because they shut down, they quarantined, they did the thing they were supposed to do. And that's one thing that the internet shows us. Like, that's one thing. Like, people in, South Europe can get on their IG Live too. What I'm saying? Show us how life is there because of how they've, controlled or did the thing they were supposed to do. So I think that's more so the fact of the matter, to show that the United States isn't quite so united in a lot of things. And I think I always tell people the same thing that makes America great is going to be its downfall. And that's the freedoms that we have, because you're always going to have people. I always akin it to science. You can use science for great things, or you can use it to make atomic bombs. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like once you realize that.
So is it our freedom, or is it like that's killing us?
I say that with tongue in cheek, because I always tell people the same thing make you laugh and make you cry. And like, we get on all these other countries for like by governing their people a certain way and doing things like, they say America greatest country in the world, but I ain't heard about no school shooting in Europe. You know what I'm saying? I ain't heard about, a lot of things that's happening here because we do have such freedoms. Like, I ain't like, God forbid if, the Capitol had been stormed in some of these other countries, it'd be a whole nother game plan, because people still respect, whether they like it or not, they still respect, power. And people here in America, they like, we've had that freedom so long that we take it for granted. And we'll use it to do stupid stuff sometimes. And that's just what comes with it. Sadly.
we got to be careful, y'all. We're in a really dangerous time. We're showing, just like you said, we're all connected. Everyone's looking at us. Everybody looks at us as the high beacon of hope and of, our streets are paved with gold. We're like the, example of democracy. But we have to deal with accountability, because what I'm seeing now is some of the Republicans coming to the table saying, well, tomorrow, as soon as tomorrow, we can see another impeachment request or whatever they call it.
They're trying to speed it up.
They're trying to speed it up. I don't think they have time. That's fine.
The House can do it. The Senate won't
but
be
in
able to
order
do it in
to,
time.
everyone is calling for us to, heal and, let's forget about it. Let's put it behind us. But accountability is one of the things that helps people heal. And so I hope that these people are held accountable for what they've done. And I hope that, the fallout in the coronavirus spread that's going to come from this is another thing that's crazy. But that's on them. That has nothing to do with no, it's not really on them. We can't say that anymore, because we're definitely going to have to. What's this? Members of Congress and staff informed many have been exposed. Okay, that's why you gave it to me, because that's what I was saying. Members of the House of Representatives and their staff received a memo from the attending physician on Sunday morning that many of them may have been exposed to coronavirus during the violent riot that took place at the Capitol on Wednesday.
And to interject, they verified that one guy that knowingly had coronavirus went to the riots and stormed the Capitol and all of that. So
the exposure took place as House members and staff were evacuated. This is horrible. I mean,
like just
this
the beginning.
Is beyond. This is beyond what I even, I don't know. We're gonna be looking at the fallout from this for a long, long time, y'all. Also, I wanted to touch on one thing before we get out of here. That STEMI is a tax credit. I just want you to remember that. The recovery rebate credit by which you can claim the money will be factored into your overall tax return, including liabilities. So if you receive a credit of $600 stimulus check but owe $500, you will receive a payment of just $100. If you're going to owe money, you're still going to owe money. Some people might prefer to receive $600 check and have to pay $500 to the IRS separately, so that's fine. Millions of second stimulus checks are on the way to Americans if you haven't gotten it already. That includes $600 per individual, $1,200 per married couple. If you earn up to $75,000, you'll qualify for a full payment, as well as heads of households up to $112,500 in income, and married couples up to $150,000. 147 million second stimulus payments have been scheduled to go out. So don't get too excited, because that was a tax credit. I hope you guys, stay on your toes, pay attention. We have a lot of things we need to clean out our closet in this country and really get to the bottom of some of these things. Be honest, have some open, honest conversations. Educate some people. I think ignorance is behind a lot of these ideologies, and just do what we need to do. I agree that we need to heal and get together, but in order to do that, there has to be some accountability. That's all I'm saying. You can't just say, when you punish your child, they do some wild shit, you don't just say, oh, it's okay. Because if you raise your child like that, they're going to go into this world like that. Mm-hmm. So let's just all be better people, y'all. Let's all be better for each other, to each other. And if you haven't, check out our previous episodes, because we've talked about all this stuff for a really long time. That's basically what we talk about. Like I said in the beginning of the show, when I started this show, I was just so happy to be back in Georgia, in a place where my ancestors were from. Try to bring awareness to the news and the events. Try to get people involved so that they can participate in the process. And here we are in Blue, Georgia. Your vote influences everything. Don't ever think it doesn't. The House of Representatives, the Senate building, all that stuff in D.C., the White House, that is our house. Isn't that what the protesters were saying?
It's our house.
Let's wait and see.
Huh?
Let's wait and see. Let's wait and see. For the people that voted in favor of what happened, let's wait and see. The people haven't received a victory yet. They received a victory. Like, we haven't received anything yet. So I think before we start,
who's they? They received a victory.
The politicians, the people in politics,
right?
They got their victory.
They won.
Yeah,
right.
They won. Like,
we win when they start working for us.
Exactly.
I feel like we're in a holding period right now.
I agree with that.
Like
I agree with that.
I think a lot. The inauguration is on the 20th, right? It's on the 20th.
Yeah.
So, and they're already talking about, like, these same people are talking about they're going back and they bringing their guns. And
yeah, that's why, Trump got kicked off of all of his social media, even Parler. And Parler is one of the conservative sites. Mm-hmm. You can't say, they're revoking his First Amendment rights because this guy has a whole press team. He's the president. Mm-hmm. He's got a press team. He could have a press conference today if he wanted to. What the fuck, Twitter? That man will be on channel 2, channel 12, channel 11 in 5 minutes if you wanted to.
But once again, same thing, make you laugh, make you cry. The power of media. He championing it to get to where he is.
And he's low-key jealous of media because, he put something in the bill about media companies. Mm-hmm. Anybody that's successful, he's jealous. If it's not him, he's jealous.
Yep.
This is, and I want people to research too, because I think this country, we have a lot of narcissistic personalities in this country.
It's American in a lot of ways.
We got to research that.
Oh, yeah. So,
y'all, thank you for hitting us up. I've been having people from all over the country hit us up on our page. Thank you. Like I said, I love everybody's perspective from around the country. I got some Trump supporters on our page. I had to block some of y'all because you got out of control. You disrespected a couple of our followers. We can't have that. Let's have these open and honest conversations on the page. Follow us on Instagram, CTD_ATL. If there's something that you want us to discuss, I appreciate you. I encourage you to send it to us so we can put it out there and we can have open, honest conversations. Make sure wherever you listen to your podcast at, follow Connecting the Dots podcast. I know there's a bunch of them, but our logo is red, white, and blue, and we're going to update that too. We're going to have a whole thing, and we're going to announce that. We'll have some new information coming up soon. But right now, look for our Connecting the Dots logo. And also, we have a Facebook page. I know, Facebook. I know the people on Facebook. But, Facebook, you can share the article. We can read it together. We can talk about it and all that and engage. So make sure you follow us. Keep us posted on what's going on. We're going to keep you posted on what's going on. We're going to keep having these open and honest conversations. In Georgia, we did it.
We did.
Thank you guys for watching, and we'll talk to you later. Peace.